Welcome to This Explainer. I'm so glad you're here because honestly, what we're doing today is basically a direct intervention. If you're a smart, thoughtful person, but you still wake up feeling like you're kind of just sleepwalking through life, like you aren't even close to hitting your true potential, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to use some incredibly profound insights from the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche to pinpoint and totally escape the hidden traps holding us back. So get comfortable and really focus in on this, because finding the way out of these traps is a total game changer.
Okay, let's dive into this. Think about how most mornings start. You wake up, maybe scroll your phone a bit, rush through that same old routine, and just go through the motions, right? It almost feels like your day was written by someone else. But here's the scary part. Those days turn into weeks, and those weeks blur into years. And then suddenly, you wake up one day and have to ask yourself, wait, how did my life become so small? It's a totally universal pain point. In fact, Nietzsche actually believed the biggest danger in life wasn't failing big. It was literally never waking up at all.
The invisible prison.
To really ground this, listen to this striking thought from Nietzsche. He said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe." What he's getting at here is that if your absolute biggest fear is being judged or rejected by others, well, your whole life just turns into a performance. You start shrinking yourself down just to fit the mold. You actually stop yourself before anyone else even has the chance to. And this fear of the tribe, it creates this completely invisible prison that destroys way more dreams than actual failure ever could. Your potential literally dies right there in the gap between what you actually want and what you allow yourself to pursue just to keep everybody else happy.
Now, what's super interesting is how these abstract fears show up in our day-to-day lives as what we'll call comfort traps. We're talking about those everyday, seemingly harmless mistakes. Doom scrolling your phone in bed instead of actually engaging with your own thoughts. Clinging to a routine that's totally boring, but hey, it's safe. Actively avoiding any situation that might feel even a little bit awkward. Or, and this is a big one, perpetually waiting for that magical, perfect moment to finally start. But here's the hard truth straight from our source material: that perfect moment, it's never going to arrive. Conditions are never going to be 100% right, and the stars are definitely not going to perfectly align for you. The absolute best version of yourself actually lives right on the other side of that discomfort and uncertainty you're trying so hard to avoid.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really core difference in how we operate: the sleepwalker mindset versus the awake mindset. See, the sleepwalker is basically trained from birth to sit around in waiting rooms. They're always asking for permission from society, following these invisible rules, constantly trying to please the crowd. But guess what? Potential is completely wasted in those waiting rooms. The awake mindset, exactly as Nietzsche saw it, realizes that the only real permission slip you will ever need is the one you write for yourself. You absolutely do not need someone's blessing to speak up, to create something new, or to claim your own path. Because if you just keep waiting for approval, you're literally just going to watch your dreams die in line behind everyone else's.
Section 2. Traps of the mind.
Let's break down the mechanics of mental sabotage here. First up, using constant distraction as a hiding place. Look, if you fill up every single empty moment with the noise of your phone or just the world in general, you are never going to hear that quiet voice inside you that points to what actually matters. Distraction literally steals your direction. Then there's that stubborn refusal to just admit, hey, I was wrong. Letting go of the comfort of being right is absolutely essential if you want to transform. When you finally change your mind, you're actually giving yourself permission to change your life. We also tend to let these ancient survival-based fears dictate our modern choices, basically trading our entire future just to feel comfortable right now. And finally, comparison. Measuring your own worth by the scoreboard of other people's lives, that quietly turns your ambition into envy and your gratitude into self-doubt.
Nietzsche captured this internal struggle so perfectly when he wrote, "The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die." You see, growth is just inherently painful. Our world totally worships comfort, right? The couch, the screen, that same old easy routine. But if your life never feels uncomfortable, you aren't growing. You're actually shrinking. Choosing comfort over the really hard challenge of shedding your old skin basically guarantees your potential is going to stay locked away forever.
Section 3. Letting go of yesterday.
You absolutely have to forgive yourself for your past mistakes to make space for the person you might become. Our source material points out this secret that almost nobody tells you. The person you need to forgive the most, it isn't out there in the world somewhere. It's you. Self-condemnation just rots the spirit. If you're constantly holding on to every past failure or every single moment of doubt, you're never going to let yourself evolve. You've got to reframe it. Please remember this key takeaway. Your potential is a promise to your future self. It is not a payment for your past.
Let's move right into Section 4, the master key, and see how this all builds.
So the crucial point we're building toward here is radical responsibility. And what that means is the willingness to claim your life right now as your own, without blaming fate or your parents or bad luck or the state of the world. Now, please hear me clearly on this. This is not about shame. Not at all. It is entirely about power. Radical responsibility means accepting that, okay, maybe you can't always choose what happened to you in the past, but you absolutely have the power to choose what you do next with your wounds and your gifts. It's about finally stopping that wait for a rescue party and starting to actually create.
So how do we actually use this master key? Well, we follow these 5 practical steps. Number 1, own your daily choices, even the tiny ones. Did you scroll social media instead of working on that project? Just own it. Number 2, break the pattern today. Not tomorrow, today. Interrupt your old, tired script with just one unexpected act. 3, build resilience through small risks. Every single time you take action in spite of being afraid, you're growing stronger. 4, reflect and adjust, but do it without the guilt. Look at where you acted from fear versus where you acted from truth, and just make an honest course correction. And finally, number 5, celebrate the smallest progress. Listen, potential is built brick by brick through consistent, brave, daily decisions. You really need to recognize yourself for every single honest attempt you make to change.
Section 5. The Final Trap. You know, we live in a world that so deeply worships constant growth and being your quote-unquote best self that we actually risk falling right into toxic self-improvement. It is just so tempting to make potential into this heavy standard that you only use to punish yourself. And you fall into this trap by measuring every single day strictly by what you didn't accomplish, by replaying your failures on a loop instead of celebrating your really brave attempts, and basically by turning your own personal development into this totally unwinnable competition. Even Nietzsche himself chased greatness so fiercely that he sometimes just completely forgot to rest. He forgot to celebrate the small progress and forgot to simply live in the present moment. Obsessing over your potential like that entirely defeats the actual purpose of growth. So, to escape this final trap, you've got to find that sweet spot, the balance between healthy ambition and self-compassion. You have to push yourself, yes, absolutely, but you must balance that drive with the grace of never abandoning yourself. You kind of have to let go of this whole idea of arrival. Because honestly, there is no final destination. There are only deeper layers to uncover. You need to make the journey itself the joy. Laugh at your ridiculous mistakes, take a second to really notice when you grow, and please celebrate the effort just as much as the final achievement.
Which brings us to a final, incredibly vital question for you. What is the very first, small act you will take today to break a trap's hold and finally claim your potential? I want you to really think about this. The world desperately needs more people who are awake, who are courageous, and who are actually kind to themselves. That combination right there, it's rarer than genius. Your potential isn't just some abstract philosophical theory. It is a decision, and it's a decision that you get to make right now. So what's your first step going to be? Claim it and step into the life you are truly capable of living.